The missus and I went on the Norwegian Bliss back in 2024, in April of this year, to take a Alaskan cruise. During our time, we decided to review on four categories, and we'll go through those four categories in just a few moments. But we just want to let you know that if you've never been to Alaska before, it's definitely something to behold. The pictures that you'll see in this video will not do it justice. You just have to go out there and experience it for yourself. So we went on Norwegian Bliss. This is our one of the fourth or fifth cruise lines that we've been on, and we decided to rank it and the rest of the cruises that we've been on in four different categories. One, disembarkation, embarkation. The second category is service. So any type of service we may receive from the attendants, the room stewards, at the bars or anything like that, we place underneath the service category. Food. So we're talking about here the food, whether it be in the main dining room, room service, anywhere we can get food on the ship, we're going to have in the food category. And finally, we rounded off with ambiance. So, just the look and feel of the ship and how the ship kind of, the vibe and the aesthetics that you have while on board. So, first, let's start with embarkation. The embarkation process coming out of Seattle, Washington was at best a little disheveled. We were able to get through the main line fairly quickly, but then we were placed into a holding room for several hours. And it seemed like, we were expecting to possibly go on board as early as 11 a.m. that day, but we wound up not getting our number called, even though we were a priority, until about a little after 12. So that was not the best way to start off the NCL Bliss experience. So for embarkation, it definitely was not that strong of a strong suit for them. As far as disembarkation, also not a strong suit. We were able to, leave our rooms a little bit later in the morning. We waited for our number to be called, or our level to be called, to disembark from the ship, and we wound up being in a very, very long line. We were out there in that line for, it seemed like, over an hour to get off the ship. There was not much really organization with the line. Very, very confusing situation. And one of the worst embarkations that I've been a part of. That wasn't the worst, but well, definitely one of the worst. So for disembarkation, embarkation, I'm going to rate it at 6 out of 10. Next, service. So when we got on the ship initially, we looked over our room and noticed that even after the long embarkation wait time, the room was kind of a mess. We expect to have a little bit of having to wipe up a couple things here or dust off a couple of things there, but there was just, it seemed like the room wasn't even cleaned at all. And so we wound up taking the first 30 or 45 minutes of our day just kind of tidying up and cleaning up the ship. Afterwards, our room steward came in and said, "Oh, I like to finish my cleaning now." But he just took a rag and kind of wiped the wall a little bit, which we had already cleaned, and then maybe wiped the handle of the balcony door, and then left. So for service, it wasn't starting that good. We went to the main dining room later that day, and we asked for our meals. We gave our allergies that we had, and still were served food that contained some of the things we were allergic to. This was a running thing with Norwegian. We've been on many different cruise lines, we've been on some resorts, and typically there's some type of computer system which, if you give your waiter your allergies, they'll put it into the computer system and it'll hold that information for the duration of your trip. This is not the case with Norwegian. They never remembered our allergies, and so multiple times we were provided with foods that we were allergic to, even though we told them our allergies prior to the meals. But even outside of that, because food is a different topic, but just overall service wasn't anything to write home about. The cleanliness of the rooms, the steward did not really come back to the room that often, and so it was a case where maybe the room would get cleaned, or maybe it wouldn't get cleaned for that day. And we were traveling with some family, and they experienced similar situations. So for service, I have to give Norwegian Bliss a 4 out of 10. Next, food. I've already talked about this a little bit with the Norwegian Bliss. The food, when they weren't giving me food that I was allergic to, it was pretty okay. It was average, maybe a little bit below average. We wound up eating a lot in their little tavern. I believe it's on deck 5 or 6, maybe 7. But so it's a tavern that you can go to and get bar food, burgers, fish and chips, those type of things, and those things were pretty okay. But when it come to the MDR, when it came to the MDR was below what I would expect from a cruise line, based upon what you're paying for with that Norwegian cruise line. The specialty dining, we had a few nights of specialty dining. I can say that the Italian space was decent, and the French restaurant was excellent. That was probably some of the best food I've had on the ship, was the French restaurant. The missus enjoyed the steakhouse. I did not, but she did. And so overall, I would say that for the food on the Bliss, I would rate it 6 out of 10. Finally, the ambiance. This is where the Norwegian Bliss really shines. It's a beautiful ship. The way that it's decorated will really give you a feel of just being in a different world. Maybe in a more of a European type environment. Maybe more British. It feels more British to me. But it looks really nice. The ambiance of the restaurants is beautiful. I wish the food and service would match up with that, because uh, it really is a lovely ship. So ambiance overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. So overall, the Norwegian Bliss is a 6 out of 10 for me. I would not travel on Norwegian again unless there was some type of excellent promotion where it just really lined up to a great deal and a great itinerary that I would like to see. But I don't have any intentions on selling with Norwegian again. But hey, if you like Norwegian Bliss, drop in the comment your favorite ship from, or if you like Norwegian in general, drop in the comments your favorite Norwegian ship. Maybe I'll look that up and take a look into it and give them another try in the future. But for me, it's a 6 out of 10 on the Norwegian Bliss for this year, 2024.